Okay guys, welcome to Module 2. We're going to be focusing on the attack cycle. We're looking at some things that the intel community likes to call indicators. So we're going to look at a few things here and there. Basically what it comes down to is what would lead up to an event or an incident involving a mass casualty event or an active shooter event or something along those lines. Obviously you can't prevent all those, but you can mitigate a lot of that. It can be difficult. I mean, there's nothing easy about this. You got to be part cop, part intel guy, part security specialist. But at the end of the day, you really need to be able to pay attention to those indicators, or some people may call them in the law enforcement community clues. Basically, this can't be overstated enough. There are so many things that people need to look at prior to an incident occurring, but obviously you don't know what happened because we all know hindsight's 20/20. But what we do understand and what we do know is in that pre-attack indicator, there are incidents or there are things that happen prior to the actual attack itself. It could be surveillance, it could be purchasing ammonium nitrate fuel oil, diesel fuel, it could be a large amount of fertilizer, ammonium nitrate. It could be any number of things, and that's kind of, if you got the intel community and the law enforcement community paying attention, you can kind of see what's leading up to something. You can kind of see that this is going to happen. I'm sure most of you guys are probably news junkies like I am. You follow the news and are able to see that there are a lot of things out there where the FBI has made arrests. There's been arrests for conspiracy to commit terrorist incidents. There's been things of that nature. So the law enforcement community and the intel community, they really focus on this. Basically what we're going to do in this, our learning objectives, is going to be describe the terrorist pre-attack and attack methodology. We're going to identify indicators in pre-attack operations. We're going to look at, to coin a military term, TTPs, tactic, techniques, and procedures. And we're going to cover a couple other bases. To complete this module, you will have to have read Chapter 2 and Section 2.2 and the surveillance and threat detection, prevention versus mitigation. So we want to take a close look at that. There's two distinct differences, or those are two distinct different items. Think about that. It may come up again. All right. Okay, watch the videos lecture on the attack cycle by your awesome instructor, me. And we want to know about the terrorist attack cycle, obviously. We got a couple YouTube videos, or a YouTube video, actually I think we got two of them, for FBI interviews, what the FBI was seeing, and what the FBI knows, and how they deal with these things, and how they react to them. Obviously we know that action's quicker than reaction, but if you can prevent this, that's your best case scenario. But let's keep in mind, we can't always prevent things, so what are we going to do? My favorite word, I keep preaching this, we're going to mitigate it. So throwing that out there. Also, we're going to do a discussion question on the attack cycle. I think you'll enjoy this one. I know that I think it's a pretty good topic. And we're going to discuss very briefly about the final paper. I can't emphasize this enough. This is going to be the majority of your grade. Obviously, you get points for participating in discussions, and there's going to be benchmarks that you got to have to meet to complete the final paper. So, that being said, this will be your topic approval for your. You will choose a topic that I've suggested. I've given you two of them. You could choose one or the other. It's going to be a man-made disaster, or it's going to be a natural disaster, and just go ahead and choose one, and we're going to go from there. Okay. The attack cycle, something we got to look at very closely. The attack cycle. Pre-attack indicators of active shooters. The FBI did a survey, or did an analysis of 38 separate active shootings in the United States. By the way, that's the largest amount that's ever been recorded by the FBI in 1 year history. There were a lot of attacks occurring, and most people get into this mindset that nothing can stop it. Okay, to an extent, nothing can stop it. If somebody just snaps in their basement one day, then there's no way that you can really stop it. Think of Las Vegas, think of San Bernardino, think of Pulse nightclub, because nobody really knew what was going on. San Bernardino, they had the couple that went into the work of the husband. They kind of knew something was amiss, but again, never really followed up on it again. you got to look at these things. I'm not saying that you should basically hold everybody to that high degree of scrutiny, but in certain places and certain aspects, there should be things that should be questioned. Ask those tough questions. When in doubt, I can't emphasize this enough, contact local law enforcement. Let the cops deal with it. That's what they get paid to do. Unfortunately, they don't get paid a lot, but that's neither here nor there. I digress. Anyway, so let's see. How can we look at this stuff? There's no way you can see this coming. There's a lot of tragedies, and then there's the society routine wrestles with the fundamental question: can anything be done to prevent attacks on our kids, on our schools, our churches, our concerts? Yes, you can look at certain things. You can have certain things in place, and you can address certain issues. But at the end of the day, you got to realize you can't stop it. So what are we going to do? We're going to mitigate it. There's things that can be done, because prior to any type of incident, there's going to be things that happen. There could be behaviors by the shooter in an active shooter situation that somebody may be picking up on if he's an employee of your organization, or he's someone that you know, or something along those lines. Then you can kind of get a vibe. You can kind of get a feel on what's going on. You got to look at these things. There's been incidents that I can think of off the top of my head in the on the West Coast, where one lady said she knew something was up, but she was afraid to call the police because she was afraid of being stereotyped. That's not a good thing. Okay, again, let the cops deal with it. Some people they're in fear of erroneously labeling somebody, and they don't want to do that. It's tough. When you look at the school shooting that happened in Florida, this is the flip side of the coin. Many calls were made to local law enforcement and the FBI. However, they knew this kid was on the radar, but they never knew what to do about it. So you got to pay attention to those things. What you need to do is you got to observe these pre-attack indicators, these warning signs. There's something going on. Is a person becoming evasive? Are they stressed out about finances? Are they having trouble at home? I'm not saying that if you're going through a divorce, you're going to be an active shooter, but all those things add up. Just think about the totality of the circumstances involved when you look at things like that, because you got to take everything into consideration. What I've done is I've gotten some things I want you to read. There's a pre-attack indicator for 63 active shooters, an analysis that the FBI did. I want you to look closely at that. That's something that I think you would take a look at. I think you're going to find it pretty informative. Next thing we'll do is on the second part of this, we got an FBI agent who basically said these are the warning signs. These are the things that he thinks people should realize, or people should notice. I'm in agreement with him. You'll find times where I can honestly say I don't agree with the FBI. However, in this certain circumstance, I definitely agree with what they're saying. I want you to watch the video and give me some feedback on it in our discussion questions, because you're really going to want to know what's going on. What's this mindset that we're looking at? The discussion question is going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to mention in the YouTube videos of pre-attack indicators. At what point would you say that local law enforcement, federal law enforcement, should be notified? It's not going to be as cut and dry as you think. So I want you to look really closely at the videos. I want you to take in this information. This is something that's pretty important to me. I think this is where a large part of our threat comes. A large part of our threat comes from. So we'll work on Module 2. Get this knocked out. I'm looking forward to seeing those responses. I think this is going to be a great module for us, and looking forward to see what you got to say. Y'all have a good one, and I will talk to you soon.